Welcome back to this tutorial series on SensorToolkit 2. In the previous video, I showed you how to use the range sensor to detect nearby coins. This time I'll be showing you the line of sight sensor and how to make AI agents that will detect the player only when they have a clear line of sight. The purple soldier already has a script to fire its gun at a target. It aims and fires at the game object assigned to this input. After I add the sensor, I'll have it populate the input when it detects the player and clear the input when the player is not detected. Since we're trying to model the agent's sight, I'll add the sensor to the eyes bone in the agent's armature. The line of sight sensor is found in the Add Component menu. Now, you'll see that the first parameter is called Input Sensor. The line of sight sensor cannot generate detections on its own. It reads the detections from the input sensor and calculates line of sight for each of them. We can use a range sensor as an input sensor. I'll need to add one and configure it first. We need the range sensor to be able to detect the player. The player has a character collider on a physics layer called Agents, so I'll configure it to detect that. It can detect the player, which is good, but it's detecting itself as well. We don't really want it calculating line of sight against itself, so I'll put it in the ignore list for the sensor. Now let's configure the line of sight sensor. I'll make the default physics layer block line of sight, and I'll just set the number of test rays to 5. The player has 20% visibility, and if we click here, we can visualize all 5 of the test rays. Now, I'm going to set the number of rays back to 1 and enable the moving average option. I'll enter the window size as 50, which means that the visibility score will be averaged over the previous 50 pulses of the sensor. The moving average feature lets us use fewer test rays, which is great for performance, and also dampens any sudden changes in visibility. I'll just quickly write a script now that hooks up the line of sight sensor to the agent's firing behavior. The last thing to do now is enable the limit view angle option. This constrains the sensor to only detect objects in their field of view, and it'll allow the player to sneak around the agent.